Today's book is Usborne's Experiments with Your Computer, with lots of programs and things to do. This was published in 1985 and cost £2.25. The book was written by Helen Davies, designed by Graham Round and Clem Blondell, programmed by Chris Oxlade, Jeff Sheaf, Bill Rivers, Philip Clark and Chris Smith, and again beautifully illustrated. It's Usborne. It's all about how you use computers in science and research. There's a program about tossing coins, a program about bouncing balls, pulse rates, modelling of journeys, economic modelling, running an airline, experiments with tensors, looking at results, databases. The programs used by scientists and other researchers are often extremely complex and run on powerful computers. The programs in this book are much simpler than those described here, but they do similar jobs. Computers are used to model events which are too vast or complex to be studied in reality. For example, physicists in the USA are using one of the world's most powerful computers, a Cray 1, to model the birth of the universe. The model is a program based on physicists' theories that the universe was born in a massive explosion called the Big Bang. The program uses mathematical equations to represent what happened during the first second of the explosion and traces the structure of the universe from then until now. By comparing the model's predictions with actual observations, scientists can see whether their theories seem right. Computer models are also used to develop and test new products and machines, such as spacecraft. The picture below was produced by a computer modelling a rocket taken off into space. The green shape shows the flow of air around the rocket when it is travelling at just below the speed of sound. By experimenting with the model, space engineers were able to predict the effect of altering the rocket's angle of attack, the angle at which it pierces the air. Many types of research produce huge amounts of information. Programs called databases enable researchers to store the information in a computer. A computer can search through a database in seconds, looking for a particular fact or detail and spotting links which might never otherwise be found. Cointossing program. Here is a simple program to type in and try on your computer. It models a coin being tossed. You can experiment with it to see what results you get when you toss the coin different numbers of times. When you run the program, you tell the computer how many times to toss the coin. It models the tosses and shows how many heads and tails you got. By modelling the toss 10 times and see what results you get, then try 100 or 1,000 tosses. You should find the more times you model the toss, the closer your result is to 50% heads and 50% tails. Run the program, input the tosses 10. Lots of heads, not many tails. So run it again, model it again, 10. Loads of tails this time. Now we try 100. So this is a very simple program. The book says it's very simple, but it shows how a computer model can save time and money doing real experiments. Time yourself tossing a coin 100 times and write down the results for each toss. How does your time compare with the computer? Now we move on to 1,000 times. It still takes a while, but it's a lot more efficient to do this rather than have someone tossing a coin over and over and over again. So this gives you a basic idea of the value computers can bring, because computers don't get bored. You could say 10,000 times, go off to the cinema, come back, and it'll tell you the results. The first meaty experiment we get into is modelling a bouncing ball. We experiment with it and see what happens if we throw the ball from different heights, throw it harder, or use a bouncier ball. You can even alter the force of gravity. On Earth, gravity is 1.8 meters per second, and bounciness. Between 0 and 1, a hard rubber ball is 0.9, it says try 0.5 or 0.7. The model works based on standard laws of physics discovered by Isaac Newton, which relate to the movement of objects and the pull of gravity. Provide the same information multiple times. Initial height 1.5 meters, initial direction 45 degrees, initial speed 5 meters per second, which is a gentle throw, Earth gravity, bounciness 0.7. We're going to repeat the experiment 4 times, the first time with 45-degree angle. They provide subroutines for drawing of graphs, you can change the scale, and it's rather elegant. The ball rolls, goes up to 2.5 meters in height, and just makes it up to 20 meters. Run it again. This time we're going to float at 60 degrees, a little bit higher, Again, it bounces a bit more. The way the programs are written, they provide the graphic subroutines for each individual microcomputer because they are so different, but the basic code that runs the science is all the same. So here we're throwing it 20-degree angle, which is almost straight up. So that's gone about 3 meters high. Now about 1.5 meters. It's certainly bouncing more, but obviously going a lot less. Yeah, we've not got as much distance this time. So the last attempt will be at an angle of 135, which is forward and slightly down. Yeah, with the ball gone down, we get a good bounce on it, but we're not going to go nearly as far because we haven't got the advantage of height. That's bouncing the ball on Earth. As you saw, we had to enter the gravity on Earth, which was 9.8 meters per second. The book also provides gravity for other planets in the solar system, from Mercury all the way out to Pluto, which is still a planet. So we're going to give some of those a try now. Enter the values as before. Gravity is 3.7 meters per second, which is Mercury, also Mars. So we get a lot higher, well, not that much higher, maybe 3.5 meters. Still got a good bounce. The simulation is set to stop if the ball bounces off the edge of the x-axis. Otherwise, we get a interactive range problem. We can go off the top of the screen. That was Mercury and Mars. Next, we're looking at Jupiter, which is 26.5 meters per second, and it drops like a stone. Still bounces a bit. And it toddles off. Next, for comedy reasons, we have to look at the best planet in the solar system, Uranus, with 9.1 meters per second. It's slightly less than Earth, so we don't expect much difference. But it's pleasant to see the difference you can get by varying just individual numbers and getting different results, rather than actually travelling to Uranus. It would be rather different. And the last planet we're going to play with is Pluto. Pluto has a gravity of 0.4 meters per second. Let's see what we get here. And the ball goes up, and the ball goes up, and the ball goes up, and you've got a long wait. So we start off. You can see I've increased the vertical scale up to 20 meters and the horizontal scale up to 250 meters. I've increased the frame rate of the video 8 times. The unedited version of this is 15 minutes long. So we still go off the top of the screen, but only ever so slightly. So it shows how effective this subroutine is. You just alter the one line of code to say, multiply x, multiply y by a certain value, and you change the labels. And here we come down again, back in Pluto. I wonder what escape velocity will be on Pluto. I wonder if you could just throw a ball into outer space. But certainly, rubber is certainly bouncy on Pluto. That's about 60, 70 meters we've thrown. There it goes. It's coming to the top of its second bounce. And we're coming down again. And quickly looking at the escape velocity on Pluto. Escape velocity of Pluto is 1.2 kilometers per second. So we're not going to get that with our gentle toss of a ball. But it's still much more impressive than when we threw the ball on Jupiter. Can we get one more hit before we hit the ground? No. Ethel's journey. Ethel has just moved house and wants to find out whether it is better to go to work by train or by bus. This program will help her. It models the journeys by bus and train over and over again so she can see which is better over a period of 6 months or a year. Models like this are useful for operational research, that is, finding out the most efficient way to do things. For instance, how should a self-service restaurant be organised so people do not have to queue for a long time? Or what is the best way to organise ships unloading cargo at a port or traffic flow at a city? Ethel has tried both ways a few times, but almost every part of each route varies from day to day. Sometimes the bus is delayed, sometimes the train is cancelled. To get a clear idea of which route is best, she needs to compare the total times of lots of bus and train journeys. The only quick way to do this is to use the computer model. Here is information about Ethel's journey. The walk to the bus. If she gets the bus, she has a 3-minute walk to the bus stop. Buses come every 7 minutes. The bus normally takes 30 minutes, but because of traffic, can take up to 50 minutes. A bus is cancelled 1 day in 10. When she gets there, there's a 10-minute walk from the bus stop to her office. To go by train, she has to walk to the station, which takes 13 minutes. Trains are at 1/4 and 1/4 the hour. The program allows you to enter up to 6 train cards. The train takes 23 minutes. 78% of trains run on time. 6% of trains are more than 5 minutes late, and trains are cancelled 1 day in 50. When she gets there, it's an 8-minute walk to the office. So what time does Ethel need to get to the office? You enter this in, the reverse, you put whatever time you like. I'm thinking 9 o'clock. A lot matters on, well, let's say 9:15. What time does Ethel want to leave? Let's say 8 in the morning. Give herself a bit of time to get there. How many journeys do we wish to model? Here we go, 100 journeys. So this will now compare 100 journeys. And you compare the results of bus and train and see the best option. If you change Ethel's leaving time, you can get radically different results because of the train times, which are only every half an hour. And you can do experiments such as Ethel's boss doesn't mind her being late occasionally, but objects to very late arrivals or regular lateness. She'd like to be late occasionally, but not often. Or Ethel's in charge of opening the office and therefore must never ever be late. What should she do? And various options you can have here. So the models here try to use a realistic spread of values. The bus journey can be 30 minutes or 50 minutes. Usually takes around 40, so that's where the random numbers fall. However, Ethel's wait at the bus stop is likely to be 2 minutes or 4 minutes or 7 minutes, so those are evenly spread. You can model your own journeys if you want to with the information. So here we are. Out of 100 journeys, all the buses arrive on time, and 95% of the trains arrive on time. And of the ones that are left, only 5 were slightly late. Let's try it again. This time we should arrive at 9 o'clock. Let's leave at 8. And let's model 100 journeys. 100 journeys is equivalent to 6 months of travel. Should give enough. The idea we're doing is this sort of modelling is one bus journey isn't very helpful, but over time you can see actually which is better, which is more useful, which is more efficient, over and over and over again. There's a little mini program which I've not typed in, which generates 100 random numbers for Ethel's bus journey. So you can see the actual spread of figures, including the way to the bus stop as well. You can see actually these are bus stop journeys is like a bell curve, whereas way to the bus stop is just even distributed. Quite cool. Okay. Buses are less efficient this time, and trains are the choice we're going to make. There are several experiments in the book involving sensors, which only work with computers with an analog port, which is a Commodore 64, VIC-20, TRS-80, or the BBC. I've not got any of those, well, I haven't got a spectrometer, but so we're not going to do any of them. First ones they look at of the two experiments is to do with a thermistor. A thermistor allows different amounts of electric current to flow through it according to how hot it is. So you can do various experiments. These are the equipment you need, the various types of socket depending on the computer, wire, scissors, soldering iron, etc. And these are the experiments it suggests. You can measure your body temperature, grasping the thermistor tightly in your palm or put it under your armpit. Put it in a cup of hot water, place it in a cool draft, and watch the cooling curve drawn by the computer. Use the thermistor to measure temperature changes in a chemistry experiment. For instance, mix about a tablespoon of vinegar with 4 or 5 lumps of washing soda and measure the temperature change when the acid and salt react, or plot a graph of variations in the temperature of a room over a whole day or night. The book also says you can change the temperature sensor into a light sensor if you replace the thermistor with a light-dependent resistor or LDR. Shows how to do that. It gives ideas of things to do, such as pointing at different light sources and using the graph to see how bright they are, pointing at a window to see if someone walks by, like this burglar, using the sensor to record light changes in the day in summer and winter, or moving the sensor over a TV screen and seeing how much variation you get in the graph as the 7th Cavalry all get killed. Scale. Microeconomic models are used to study a particular industry or company. They help companies to plan what they should do. Sometimes a model of a company is linked to a macroeconomic model to find out how general economic factors affect the performance of the company. Economic models are based on theories. No one understands exactly how the economy works, and many economic events have never really been explained. Different political groups use different models, and often disagree about what the effect of a particular policy will be. The program we're going to run is a very simple economic model of an airline company. We're going to use it to experiment with different business strategies and see which works best. We are in charge of a small airline and are planning our policy for the next 5 years. First, we get computer information about general macroeconomic conditions which affect our business. These are the predicted inflation, interest, and exchange rates. We're going to use the invented currency called groats, or G for short. At the start of 5 years, an aircraft costs 50,000 groats. The price goes up each year by the rate of inflation. We need 2 crew for each aircraft. Crew and other running costs for one aircraft for a year are 10,000. These also increase with inflation. There's an automatic yearly cost of 1,000 groats plus 2,000 for each aircraft, whether or not you run the aircraft, and we make interest at a predicted rate on any money we don't spend. Macroeconomic predictions for the next 5 years. I'm using the data from 1985, where, according to the Bank of England website, it was 6.1% inflation, and on 20th of March, 13.38% interest rate. I'm going to say the exchange rate is going to be rising. So we start the year with 500,000 groats, no aircraft. But let's buy some aircraft. Let's have 5 aircraft to start with. How many crew do we want? You need 2 per aircraft. How much do we spend in advertising? 100 grand? Okay. Start of the year, we had 500,000 and nothing. We spent most of our money. We received 180,000 back though. Lost 76,000, but that's not too bad. We've invested in aircraft. Year ahead, year 2. Nearly 250,000. and 10 planes. Let's not buy any planes. And with crew, it's important to remember it's not new crew, it's every year how many staff do you want. You can never sell planes. If you say, I don't want to employ any crew, you have 0 pilots, which is a bad thing. So this year we spent 211 and received 180,000. So we're still making a loss. So our aircraft are still there. We don't want to buy any aircraft. We still want 10 crew, otherwise we can't fly planes. 50,000 on advertising. Maybe I'm overspending in advertising. Maybe I'm underspending. Or maybe I typed the program in wrong. Now this year we actually received more money. We still made a loss though, slightly. With the exchange rate and interest rate in 1985, it's probably better to just not buy any aircraft at all and just make the money on the interest. Let's go 40,000 adverts. This year we made a very slight profit. Here's what the exchange rate means. The exchange rate indicates how much foreign currency you get in exchange for your money. It affects the number of tickets we sell abroad. A rising exchange rate, which we've got, means we sell fewer tickets because they're more expensive. Whereas if we had a falling exchange rate, we become cheaper over time, therefore we actually make more money. Year 5, okay. Just over 250,000. We're still down from the start. And we spent more money than we received, plus we've got costs, but we made a bit of money. 13,000. Look at me, I'm king of the air, Howard Hughes. Scientific research is all about the data, so the book provides a database program which stores information in files, which are in columns. You type data in, load a file, save a file, make entries and search. It gives ideas of databases you could make on aeroplanes, or plants, or fungi, food, whether or not you can balance start or not. Combine that with your heart rate monitor, do a car survey, or anything you like really. Other useful programs to experiment with are an average program to say, here, put your data in, and then it will tell you the 3 types of average, the arithmetic mean, the mode, and the median. It's useful to know the difference. We've got a program about correlation. We enter the numbers in pairs and I'll tell you whether or not they are positively, inversely correlated at all. Of course, doesn't mean that there is causation. A likely or unlikely program, you say how many trials you want to do and how many times we'd expect the result to occur. So if you throw a dice, how many times would you expect it to be 6? Well, if I throw a dice 6 times, 1 time will be 6. 120 times it will be 20 times, and so on. And then you throw your dice, it results in, if you did the experiment 12 times, how many times do you expect the result to occur? 2. How many times did it occur? 5. Chance of result of 5 or more is 1 in 27.5. Scientists usually want the likelihood of getting the result to be less than 1 in 20 before they accept that the result did not happen just by chance. This program makes the computer store readings of your pulse rate and display them as a graph. We can use it to compare our pulse rate before and after exercise. We're going to make a set of pulse readings before doing any exercise, which will be our normal pulse rate. You start counting your pulse when the computer makes a beep, wait 15 seconds, it beeps again, then it enters the pulses, it multiplies by 4 to give you your heart rate per minute. It does this 10 times to get a nice balance. This is data set 1, and then we draw a graph. So this is dataset 1 test 10. I've edited it for length. Start counting. So you silently count your pulse rate with your fingers stuck in your neck. And after 15 seconds or so, it will go beep again. enter your pulses, so I had 16, and then we draw the graph. The red line is my resting pulse rate, which is higher than normal because I've had lots of coffee that morning. But it's not bad. It goes up and it goes down, it wobbles. That's data set 1.
So, the book says, use the program to make a set of pulse readings before doing any exercise. Done that. The computer will display a graph of your normal pulse rate. Done. Then do some exercise and give the computer another set of pulse readings. So, about to go out for a run. It's a hot old day. I'll come back to another set of readings.
So in this recording, I've just got back from the 6k run, and I'm now taking my pulse rate. This is one of the 10 sets or 15 seconds where you need to enter your pulse, after which we'll now draw the graph once more. So we draw again the red line, which is data set 1, my resting heart rate. At the top right, you see the beats per minute, around about 60 or so. Now we have the yellow line, which is me just having come back from a run. And over time, you can see it is dropping. It started at 132, down to 112, 120, so I'm recovering. Not too bad. Next, a different form of exercise. Another form of exercise is, of course, the press-up. I'm not very good at press-ups, but I'm giving them a go here, just to do something different. It also suggests things like star jumps, general jumping around, jumping jacks perhaps. That's what else we've got suggested. Cycling, sit-ups, doing step-ups up and down the stairs. But here I'm going to do some press-ups. Pretend it's like in Rocky. I do them until I can't do any more, and then I'll rush back upstairs and do my pulse again. Well, I'm here, clearly slowing. Come on. You call that a press-up? Come on. One more. Come on, one more. No. Okay. So each time you complete a set, it will draw the lines before. The red line is resting heart rate, yellow is after running, and green is after press-ups. So obviously it's elevated, but not that elevated, and I seem to be recovering pretty well. So it's certainly an interesting topic, and it suggests you keep trying and trying. That was Usborne's experiments with your computer. Thanks to Usborne for making the PDF available on their website for free download. It's a glorious book, full of lots of really nice things to look at. The programs are interesting. The subroutines are useful. There's a different subroutine for BBC Electron, VIC-20, Commodore 64, Apple, TRS-80 and Spectrum, because the graphics are so different. Economics, operational research, measuring your pulse rate, bouncing balls, laws of physics. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.